Hi, guys. It's Real Talk with Tracy, and I'm just feeling rather sad today because it is the anniversary of my mother's death, and also a few days prior, my aunt that raised me, the anniversary of her death. They died the same week, and I hadn't seen my aunt that raised me in about 39 years because she was really crazy and a drug taker and an alcoholic and bipolar, and she was a very screwed up person. She was functioning in society, but she was very dangerous. So I pulled away from her and put myself into a foster home when I was 15 years old to get away from her. And then my biological mother I hadn't seen in about 25 years. She also had a lot of problems. And sometimes when you come from these kinds of families that are very toxic and dysfunctional, as hard as it may be, you can wish it to be different, but it is what it is. It makes the holidays and times in your life extremely hard and extremely sad. And I really feel for all of you that feel so alone from having abusive, narcissistic parents. I'm really looking forward to getting a good night's sleep so I can just wake up and feel better tomorrow, I hope. I usually am pretty happy, and I hate the fact that I let this sadness kind of ruin the day-to-day. I think watching all the news about the people that are still in Gaza, that were kidnapped in Israel, and watching the war and all the people being killed, it just really is very hurtful. And watching this whole thing with P. Diddy and the music industry kind of brought back a few memories. I used to play and sing the piano when I was younger. I was in all the talent shows as a kid. And after my dad left, my aunt that was raising me sent me to spend a day with this guy that was like a promoter. And I was maybe 11. And he took me out for coffee. And he took me out for a meal. And then he took me up to this house that was up in the hills, like, I want to say Ventura and Cahuenga, like somewhere like in Sherman Oaks or something like that. And there was all these women there, and they were wearing those pentagrams, you know, those, the star that's like the devil. They were all part of this cult, and they were coming over and they were touching my hair and telling me how beautiful I was and that I was going to be part of a group, that I was going to be like the virgin in their group, and I was going to play a special part in their group, and all this weird shit. Now, nothing sexual happened, but I felt like I was being set up. And they're like, we can't wait to see you again. It was just really, really weird. I remember him bringing me home. I don't remember really too much else about anything that happened with that, but I remember feeling like really like scared. and out of control and thinking, why would she put me in that situation to be alone with all these people that I didn't know, with this man that I didn't know? And watching what happened with Justin Bieber and this whole Diddy situation, it just brought back some weird memories like that I haven't thought of in a long time. Like all of her really weird parties and crazy things of her coming home drunk in the middle of the night with different men and pulling me out of bed in my nightgown to play the piano and entertain everybody, and just how embarrassing it was to have a mother that was like the PTA mom and perfect. And then when my uncle actually, when he left, she kind of flipped out, had a nervous breakdown, and she became this very promiscuous, overly sexualized, sort of a whore, and brought a lot of stuff into the house. And I just wanted to get out. And so I did. I went into the foster system. And then my uncle that was raising me came to get me to live with him, which he was very narcissistic and very critical person. Never felt comfortable with him. And I think he felt like if he had me, he'd have a better chance of getting the house in Malibu Lake, which is now called Agora Hills. And, he would leave on Fridays and go off and be screwing around with either his girlfriend or whoever he was seeing, and then would come back like on Monday. There was no concern for how I was, where I was, what I was doing. Nothing. I was just really, I want to say, ignored and kind of in the way. And it was a really hard time. So eventually I called her, my aunt, my crazy aunt, and I went back and I lived with her for a while, and it was just not good. Not good. So went back, lived with him for a short time, went out on the dance floor one night as a teenager and spotted this good-looking guy wearing a zoot suit, like, the hats with the zoot suit, the high waist and the jackets. That was my husband. Started dating him. We moved in together. We were kids, really. We grew up together. We got married in Las Vegas. We had $7 and a case of Top Ramen. We hardly had anything. That was 40 years ago. So, we're still together. He's my best friend. And he's always been there to listen when I'm going through these hard emotional times. How did I deserve somebody so good? But you know what, guys? Because of all the abuse, I was so afraid to have kids. We never had kids. And now in my 60s, I'm like, I'm growing old without kids and grandkids. And it's really sad. I spent a lot of time with my nieces and nephews, but they grow up, they move away. You know, every now and then they'll call. They want money. Aunt Tracy, Tia, I need this, I need that. But I wish I had those, like a wonderful son or daughter to be able to mentor, spoil, spend time with. I realize I'm going to miss out. And I have a women's group, which is wonderful. Some lovely women that I get to have lunches with. I had a wonderful career. I worked full-time for 35 years. For 18 of the years for L'Oreal, where I traveled 50% of the time. I haven't been to Australia or Bali, but I've been all over the world to many locations. Oh my God. Hong Kong, Puerto Rico, Cayman Islands, all over Europe, Mexico, all over the United States. I really had an amazing, incredible career. I'm very lucky. And I got to travel for free because of my job. And now I'm in my 60s and I feel like I'm not sure what the purpose is. What's my purpose? I'm not sure. My best friend died from Alzheimer's. Another really good friend moved away. Another really good friend a couple years ago died. I've had a lot of loss, and it's really hard. And I'm usually pretty happy, but tonight I just feel low. Kind of started with the Jewish holidays because I don't have the big Jewish happy family to celebrate with. So that's hard for me. But anyway, I took an Ambien. It's kicking in. If you ever want a really good night's sleep, just a 5 milligram Ambien. Good night's sleep. Really good night's sleep. So I just wanted to put down some of my thoughts. You know, growing up, I really idolized who I thought was my mother, my aunt. She was so beautiful at one point. She looked like Marlo Thomas, you know, with that hairdo on the bottom, the kind of... Do you remember who Marlo Thomas was? She used to throw her hat in the air and catch it. I always looked up to her as a little girl. I wanted to become her and be her, and I admired her. And who would have thought that it would have turned out this way? She missed my whole life as an adult. Never met my husband. Never saw my house. Never saw my accomplishments. Never spent holidays with me. She just missed my whole life. And she traded in being with a loser alcoholic who wasn't even allowed to drive because he had so many DUIs. Just a mess of a person. That was her life. Her and her younger husband. Her in a really abusive relationship. She was equally abusive. And the only thing I could do was cut the cord and move on. Because, when there's people in your life that are drowning you and that are not willing to get help, you have to save yourself. You have to. You have to cut the cord and swim away. That's how I look at it. So I've cut that cord with my whole family. And I've made a new family, which is myself, my husband, my dogs, my biological half-brother, who I adore, who I met 6 years ago. We have a really good relationship. Even though he's not living near me, we talk and text and see each other. I'm due to go visit him. He's a wonderful human being who also has no contact with our biological sperm donor. Another selfish jerk. So, anyway, that's it, you guys. I don't even know if I'm going to publish this one. But it's good sometimes when you're feeling so low to be able to get it out, get it off your chest. And it's cathartic to listen back to. And God, I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky and blessed that I have a very understanding husband, because sometimes when these memories and feelings come back of what happened to me in the past, it's still at 61. It can be very hard to deal with. And I want to be the fun person to be with. I don't want to make anyone sad. I don't want anyone to see me cry, or to be down, or to be grumpy. I want to stay happy. And my husband keeps talking to me about doing more for other people as far as like volunteering. I do for a lot of people. But like a regular kind of volunteer situation. Maybe I'll look into something with that. Like with some of the older people at assisted living. Maybe I'll go visit them. Listen to their stories. I just really miss having really deep, close girlfriends. I miss my friend that moved away, and I miss my friend that died. I miss many people that have died. And all that loss sometimes, when you don't have kids and you don't have family, it's really hard to get through. I'm usually pretty good at it. I'm usually pretty good at that. Today's just been very hard. So if I do publish this and you're listening, know that I appreciate you. and know that you can get through the darkest times and come out on the other end, because I did. There were some very dark times, some very bad things that happened, and I'm still here. I'm still here, and I'm living a good life, but every now and then, the sadness creeps in. And then I told my husband it's like the bottom of a murky lake. The water's clear and you're swimming and everything's beautiful. And then you step in that muck and it makes everything gray, soupy, pea soupy. But tomorrow's a better day. Tomorrow will be a better day. And I appreciate being able to have this channel to share parts of my life. It's therapeutic. I appreciate it. Anyway, if you're sad, it's okay. Get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow's a new day. Things get better. They do. The sun comes up. Sending you guys love and light. And my biggest prayer always is peace on earth. Amen. Have a great night. Good night.